So let's start our conversation about about certification. Excuse me. We've got two amazing experts to guide us through our conversation today. First, I'm excited to introduce Shalana Williams. Shalana Williams is a published author, business professional, and community leader. As a supplier diversity professional, she has had the pleasure of working in the public, state, and private sector. Her passion for helping minority business owners gain access to the necessary tools to build and grow profitable businesses guided her to her role as Associate Director of Certification for the National Minority Supplier Development Council, or NMSDC. So we are going to go ahead and drop ways that you can stay connected with both of our speakers. So you'll find ways to stay connected with Shalana in the chat. Great to have you here, Shalana. Next, we have Reginald Smith. Reginald is the founder and CEO of TrendTech Logistics, a project management and logistics firm specializing in government and corporate contracts. Since entering the government contracting arena, he has been awarded 7 state contracts in just 3 years. Reginald has managed projects for shuttle transportation, over-the-road freight, public health, and construction. TrendTech Logistics holds over 10 certifications, is certified in 9 different states, and is on the GSA Multiple Award Schedule. He is passionate about empowering small businesses to succeed in government contracting. Great to have you here, Reginald. All right. And as well, we are going to drop how you can stay in touch with Reginald in the chat as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it because we got a lot to cover today. So Shalana, I want to start with you. What are some of the most common types of certifications available for small businesses, and how do you recommend choosing the right one?
Yes, thank you for having me today. So there are a number of common certification types. So I'll break them down by sector. So for your local and private sector certification types, that's going to be your MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, your WBE, Women Business Enterprise, and the SBE certification, which is the Small Business Enterprise certification. Now, for your federal certifications, those are going to lean more towards your disadvantaged business enterprise, which is the DBE. And then you have the airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise and the person with disabilities enterprise certification as well. So those are your 3 more common federal certifications. And then, of course, depending on what state you're in, you may have certain certifications. Like, for instance, I'm in Texas. We have the State of Texas Hub certification, which is for historically underutilized businesses. So I always tell people to understand what certification would benefit you most. You need to understand yourself and your business, understand your capacity, so that way you understand what your clientele is. If you are ready to do business with the federal government and say you have a product that is ready to be used in maybe an airport setting, then you understand that you need to go after the Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification. Sorry, that's a mouthful, but the ACDBE certification or the MBE certification. So truly having a understanding of your potential clientele and the type of certifications that they utilize, that is going to help you understand which one would benefit you most. So I always tell people to understand your clientele and what they utilize, so that way you understand what certification will best get you in the doors that you're trying to get into.
That's such an excellent point of thinking about your audience and like who you're trying to certify and kind of reverse engineering it and saying, okay, what are those people? Like, what certifications are they looking for? If you know you want to go in there, that is super helpful. And all those different certifications, they're kind of long, but they all have those acronyms. So
Yes,
you'll
yes.
hear
So
like,
once you understand a few, you'll start to understand the rest of them.
yes, absolutely. That is super helpful. Okay, Shalana, next question. With today's shifting landscape, do certifications still hold the same weight? And how are agencies and corporations continuing to prioritize certified businesses?
Yes, so certification does still hold value, even with the dismantling of broader DEI initiatives that might shift the certification, but the focus on supporting certified diverse businesses is still very much a part of corporate and governmental strategies. So just a few examples that I can say that, I myself have encountered in the midst of everything that's going on in the world. We've had some of our corporations even reach out to us and request that some of our certification subject matter experts present to their committees and their boards and really expound on the value and the importance of supplier diversity in contracting. Because, and sometimes, people may not truly understand the value of the certification. So that's why we've been called in to, really speak to those key people who can make those decisions and get them to understand exactly why this is valuable and why they should diversify their spend with minority businesses. Also, we've had corporate members who have wanted to partner with us to do programs and webinars to encourage some of their current suppliers and maybe people that they're doing business with who are not certified, who meet the eligibility for these different certifications. They're encouraging them and saying, hey, we're already doing the business with you and you meet these requirements. Why not go on and get certified? And then we also have funders who are doing things like supporting our certification reimbursement initiatives, where they're actually reimbursing the funds that applicants pay for the application fee. And in the wake of everything that has been going on, we've even had funders who've loosened the requirements so that way more minorities who may have not initially meet their requirements for the program can now meet the requirements for the program and take advantage of those. So, big picture, it's a little scary, everything that's going on, but you do have corporations and businesses that are standing strong in their need to diversify their suppliers. So these are just a few examples that, we've encountered just recently.
That is so great to hear. And it's like you said, yes, even though this current topics are shifting the conversation, there are still plenty of like local governments and private sector. That's a whole different world, right? Where folks are doing that. And even I am just a consumer, but even as just a personal consumer, sometimes I like seeing the certifications and that'll influence my decision to buy as well. So I love how you're looking at it holistically. Okay. Sorry, I'm hearing my voice is low, so I'm going to speak up a little bit. Okay, thank you so much, Shalana. Okay, my next question is for Reginald. What initially motivated you to pursue certification, and what benefits have you experienced since getting certified?
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. And Brittany, thank you for the introduction. I pursued certifications to expand into the government and corporate contracting space. I realized the importance of being positioned as a qualified, diverse business to access opportunities, right? So certifications like MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and the GSA schedule, just to name a few, those helped validate our credibility and built trust within the federal agency space, and also helped us with gaining traction for larger institutions. So since becoming certified, we experienced greater visibility. We received invitations to exclusive matchmaking events. We built relationship again with those mid-sized and large-sized businesses that needs those specific certifications on those projects, which also helped us land contracts that align with our core strengths and with our core strengths.
Love that. I love how you mentioned that getting certified kind of got you in the door. You started getting invited to certain things and people started knowing more about you. And you mentioned something about credibility. That is huge, like taking this
Yes.
full step. So people were like, I'm gonna hire them, like they're certified, so I can trust them.
Yes, yes, and that's the thing. You want to be able to show the government that you've been thoroughly vetted and that you're trustworthy to be able to provide the service.
Love that. Love it. Okay. So, my next question is, how can small businesses proactively use their certification to market themselves and stand out in the contract bidding process? And oh my goodness, sorry, my notes have just frozen. I think that question was for Shalana. but correct me if I'm wrong. But it might be for Reginald.
Yes. Some things that you can do, I would say highlight your certification and your value proposition in your marketing and proposal materials. What's the benefit of doing business with your business outside of just you being a certified firm? Because as we know, people do business with those that they know and they trust. So you have to give them a reason to trust you outside of just being a certified vendor on why they should do business with you. So definitely market your value proposition in your marketing material. Also, I always give people the advice of do your homework. You want to have a targeted outreach to the different governmental and corporations that have supplier diversity programs. So do your homework that way, that you're actually speaking to the right person. You don't want to necessarily, go after the wrong corporation and you see that they don't have any supplier diversity, or maybe their spend with minorities were minute as of, last year. So you want to just do your homework. That way you have a targeted approach for the different corporations and the governmental agencies that you are trying to do business with. And then, of course, you should join or form strategic alliances with other certified businesses. This can increase your operational capacity and also allow you to collaborate for larger opportunities and contracting opportunities that maybe you once could not bid on solely on your own. That's just a few tips on how to market yourself in this contracting environment.
Yes, I really like what you said in doing your research and understanding, because I think it all plays to this, as a business owner, your time is going to be limited for sure. So making sure you're putting the energy and effort in the right spaces makes so much sense.
Definitely.
Okay. Um, I think my notes are back up. So Reginald, my next question is for you. Can you walk us through a specific contract you won and how your certification played a role in helping you secure it?
Yes, my our first contract that we were awarded was for the Georgia Department of Public Health, and they were looking for a MBE status to be able to participate on this project for shuttle transportation services. So obviously, we had MBE at that time during RFP phase, and so it was really with pricing points as well, right? So doing our research and then having that status really helped us secure that project where we provided end-to-end project management, including planning and staffing and subcontractor oversight. But also, most importantly, that certification really helped us with that supplier goal, our past performance, of course, and then the pricing points, which also helped us seal the deal. So our first one was very big for us. It was the biggest contract that we held. And we were definitely excited and ecstatic that we had the MBE in time to be able to submit and utilize that certification.
Amazing. So you saw that that was out, that request was out, and you were able to get your certification in time to put your name in the hat. Um, Amazing.
Yes.
And that I think speaks overall to like how important it is to, if you're seeing like one of these stick out to you in your business, taking those steps ahead of time so you're ready when it's time, when you see these opportunities come apart or come by you. Okay, Shalena, this I think is it's a big question because there's always going to be challenges, right? So what are some common challenges small businesses face during the bidding process, and how can they prepare to overcome them?
Yes, to your point, there is always going to be, challenges, but some of the common ones that I see small businesses face are like the lack of understanding the bidding or procurement process. So just not fully understanding or grasping the entire picture of what exactly the bidding process or the procurement process entails. So I always encourage people to reach out to the people in the different procurement departments, because they have buyers and professionals there to assist you with questions that you may have on the paperwork or the subcontracting plans or the RFPs and things like that. So they have people there to assist you with the paperwork, but also understanding the procurement process as well, because you don't want to necessarily get super excited to go after this bid and then you don't understand how how they pay out the contract. And now you've bidden off and you've won a contract, but they're going to be paying out maybe every 6 months. And you're thinking, oh, goodness, how am I going to pay my staff if I'm thinking I'm going to be getting paid every month? So just understanding not just the bidding, but the procurement process as well, and how payments and things are going to be ran should you win that contract. And then also paperwork. A lot of details are in the paperwork, so you need to take advantage of the resources that they have there to assist you with the documentation. There are people in place, professionals there to assist you if you have any questions on your subcontracting plans and proposal paperwork that you like to submit. So prior to the actual deadline for the proposal, you do have a little window where you can reach out to the buyer attached to that RFP to kind of iron out any questions or details that you may not be clear on. And then, of course, understanding your capacity or lack thereof. So just truly understanding what that contract RFP really entails, so that way you understand if you really have the capacity to go after this contract. And then if you don't, like we spoke about earlier, going after those strategic alliances and potentially partnering with other certified businesses to position yourself better to win that contract.
Amazing. Like so many key points. And I think one of the things you really hit on the head is that when you do secure one of these contracts, it can be so exciting. It's such a huge opportunity. But if you don't have the capacity or you're not able to maintain, your cash flow, if they're paying out every 180 days, which is wild, but
Yeah,
but it happens. And so
it does.
yes, you need to understand those things and prepare yourself to apply for so your time is used efficiently, because yes, it makes so much sense. Okay, my next question is for Reginald. What's something you wish you would have known before you submitted your first bid?
I wish I understood how critical it was to be able to do research. You want to be able to do research on your post award and your past award data, right? During the procurement opening, you want to be able to ask those questions. So you want to pay attention to the addendum and see when that question deadline is. Ask those questions. Ask for the bid tabulation if you're going for a federal contract, right? You want to know who was awarded this contract before me. What was their pricing points? And see what are pointers of what made them stick out. If you're at the federal, or if you're at the state and local level, you want to ask for open records at that county level. And it gives that same information. Where was those pricing points? What made this company stick out to be able to win? So you want to get all that information before you go after a project, because you also want to see if that current vendor that's been awarded, if they're going to be able to bid again, right? You want to know before you waste a lot of time. So you want to know if they're going to bid again, or if they're not like a small business, if they're graduated from a small business to a mid-sized business, they can't bid anymore, or whatever the case may be. So doing a lot of research, asking those questions, those are very critical. Also, you want to refine your capability statement. Refine your capability statement to each project that you're working on, so it highlights the pain points of that project. So if I'm going after an IT project, I don't want to send in a capability statement about transportation or about construction. I want to focus on solely on IT and what I have done for the IT space. Okay. So my advice to you guys is don't rush, review the documents, get feedback, right? If you lose an opportunity, always ask that COR for a debriefing. You want to know, what were my weaknesses? What were my strengths? What I need to know, what's going to make me better for the next opportunity. Always be strategic on your approach, right? Always be strategic. And then always track your wins and your losses and see how much you lost by, how close you were, and things of that nature. So track the information, keep it for the next project when it comes back out.
Yes, I did not even know you could go and see what the previous award and things like that you were saying. I didn't even know you could go find that information. So that is really helpful in having an understanding of if the person who already secured the contract can reapply. I also love what you said about getting that debriefing and not letting, the no be the final no, potentially going back and building some kind of relationship with that potential partner because they're like, oh, they really cared about that to like come back and talk about it. Amazing advice. Super, super helpful. Okay. So, Shalena, I feel like the question here is like, okay, I feel, prepared. I feel like I want to go get this, but where can businesses go to find upcoming local or national contract opportunities that match their services?
Okay, so once you get certified, because everyone here is going to get certified, then you'll go to the different databases that are available to you, depending on, like I said, your potential clientele that you're wanting to go after. So if you're interested in governmental contracting, the SAM's bidders list, that's going to be something that you'd want to register for. So that way you're able to look through and get notification on upcoming contracting opportunities. Now, if you're interested in doing more business with your local government or state government, then you can just reach out or look through their specific websites. So, for instance, in the state of Texas, the city of Houston has a department that's geared specifically towards minority business. So, you may look and see that you have a business opportunities department within the city that you're currently in. So I would definitely say take a look at your city website to see if you have certain departments and things like that where you can register for the database and get your certification uploaded there. That way suppliers can search for you and get your information by way of the city or local database. And then of course, the specific suppliers or corporate suppliers that you're looking into, you can register on their specific procurement sites because some of these corporations have their own procurement sites that they source through in addition to external databases that they're able to look through. So you want to make sure that if you are interested in doing business with a certain corporation, you do your research to see if they have their own marketing or excuse me, their own procurement site. That way you're able to register and upload your information there.
Okay, so it sounds like you kind of have to get registered with the audience that you're trying to secure a contract from. So you said SAMS was the first one, and that's sam.gov, I believe. We'll drop that in the chat. Thank you, Amber. So that is the first one for those government sites. And then you mentioned narrowing it down if you're looking for local and city. And then finally, which I didn't know this at all, that private sector companies or corporate companies will sometimes have their own sites. So you might have to like continue to dig into those and make sure you're on their list. Okay, super helpful. And I see questions coming in from the chat. I am grabbing them so that way we can do our live Q&A. So we're seeing them. And you will get the recording. I see some questions about the recording. You will get the recording and all the information tomorrow with the follow-up. So, okay. My next question is going to be for both speakers, but Reginald, I want to start with you. What are some best practices for building relationships with procurement officers or the decision makers?
Yes, good question. One thing I've learned since being in the government contracting space that relationships drives results, right? You want to be strategic. So asking those questions again, one thing I do always ask questions to any project that I'm working on because I want to show that I'm very interested in this project. So I'm going to ask questions to show, hey, just to get better clarity. Even if it's clear, I'm still going to ask questions because I want to be able to introduce myself. I want to keep a warm introduction with that COR or that, contracting specialist. So building relationships, going to pre-bidding meetings. Those pre-bidding meetings at the state level, they may host a pre-bidding meeting in your surrounding area where you are, and you go in and you learn about the project. So I'm going to go to those type of meetings, and I'm going to introduce myself to that project specialist over the project. A lot of following up, going to these events, networking, and that's probably the best thing to do is making sure that you're not just getting certified because the certifications, they do help, but you have to get face to face to be able to interact with the CORs to let them know that you're serious and build relationships.
Yes, that is, I feel like that is so key. If you're going to invest all this time and energy and getting certified, then making it work for you. And I see some questions about, you know, certificate, like the beginning stages. We have a great webinar that we did a couple years ago about that. So we'll drop that in the chat in case you want to learn a little bit more about the beginning part of that process. Um, Oh, one question, Reginald. Someone asked, what does COR mean? Did you just say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So the COR is at the federal level. So most of them call themselves a COR. It's just a contracting officer representative.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This whole conversation, it has a lot of acronyms, so I know I'm trying to keep up as well. Okay. Shalena, same question for you. So from your perspective, what are some best practices for building relationships with those procurement officers or the decision makers?
Yes, so building strong relationships with procurement officers and decision makers is crucial for small businesses aiming to succeed in the contract bidding process. Cultivating trust, understanding their needs, and of course, positioning your business as a valuable partner can significantly improve your chances of securing the contracts. You want to do your research and understand their needs. So familiarize yourself with the need, what the contract is in need of or what is asking. And then, of course, like I said, understanding and familiarizing yourself with their procurement process as well. You want to track down the key decision makers and stay the course. To Reginald's point, attend those pre-bid meetings. I was once the person giving the presentation in the pre-bid meeting, looking around like, where are all the MBEs? Where are they? So you want to definitely attend those pre-bid meetings, stay afterwards, shake the hands, get to know the buyers, get to know the people who are actually going to be making the decisions and or reviewing your paperwork that you're going to be submitting. And then, of course, you want to stay consistent, follow up without being pushy, but follow up and definitely hone in on your value proposition, excuse me, and your capability statement. You want to make sure that you have these things readily available. So that way, if you are asked for it, you have it to produce to them. And again, to Reginald's point, you can change those capability statements to fit the need of the contract, just like we do when we're going out and we're looking for jobs. We tweak our resumes to kind of fit the job that we're going for. Think that same way when you are doing your capability statements and going after these major contracts.
Love that. Okay, super helpful. And Shalena, this is kind of like a bonus question, but I see it pop up in the chat. Can you tell us what is a pre-bid meeting?
So the pre-bid meeting is just when they go over the details of the contract. They're going to give you certain things like the spend percentage that's attached to the goal or to the contract. So if they have a specific goal to say, okay, we want to spend 10% of this contract with minority certified companies. You'll get all those details at the pre-bid meeting. And then the people there at the meetings are those who are actually going to be reviewing your if you are going to be submitting any subcontracting plans or any proposals, those people are right there in the room. The buyer attached to the contract is right there in the room. So it's a great place to be because you're able to actually meet those people and ask questions right there on the spot if you have any questions regarding the paperwork.
That's super helpful. So it's like them sharing all the details so you can really decide if this is a good opportunity for you and connect with those folks. Okay. All right, so my last question for each of y'all before we jump into our Q&A is, first I'd like to start with Reginald. What advice would you give to a small business owner who's hesitant to get certified or pursue contracting right now or certification right now?
Good question. My advice to you guys is don't let others put limitations to your success. Okay? I'm gonna say it again. Don't let others put limitations on your success. And the reason why I say that is because when getting into government contracting, it can be overwhelming, right? There's a lot of documents, it's a lot of information you gotta be able to recital and be able to submit. I get that, right? As well as you're trying to build your business. But it's never going to be a perfect time. So you might as well start, right? You might as well start today. The opportunity is there. It's now. It's not going to slow down. So let's just dive in and just keep it moving, right? So again, like government contracting, it's a lot to learn. But if you start now and you start learning and going after those contracts that you can feel that you can manage, those are the ones that you go after. Go after that you can manage and that you can show your past performances that can align with those projects, right? For example, you can't go. I'm not going to say you can't, but you should not go after a $1 million project if you don't have a past performance showing that you have worked on $1 million, right? So you can start off in a couple thousand, 200,000, something like that, and be able to be successful in that industry until you build up your past performances and now the federal government feels comfortable with you, or the state government feels comfortable with you, and now they're like, okay, we know that you can be successful at this because they want you to be successful. So I'm wishing everyone luck, but don't let no one put limitations on you.
I love that motivation of starting today too, because sometimes we get so much information in these sessions and then we just don't know where to start. And there's that information, like get started today, start now. Shalana, same question for you though. What advice would you give to a small business owner who's hesitant to get certified or pursue contracts right now?
My advice, similar to Reginald's, is go for it. Even in the midst of everything that's going on, we cannot live with the spirit of fear, especially when it comes to business. So certification, it does still give you a leg up on the competition when attempting to do business with the companies who truly prioritize supplier diversity. So go for it. Get the certification, get the leg up on competition. And one benefit of getting certified with NMSDC as a MBE, not only will you get the certification that shows that you are a bona fide certified minority business, you also gain access to a number of business development tools. So we're not all just about certification. We're about helping you grow your business. That way, if you're not ready to do business with our major corporations, allow us to assist you to get ready to do business with our major corporations. So just not getting the certificate with NMSDC, you get the certificate, you get the gold standard of certification stamp that shows that you are NMSDC certified MBE. Then you also gain access to the network. You gain access to invitations to networking opportunities and networking events, both on the national and local level. So there's a whole host of benefits that comes with becoming certified with NMSDC besides just a certificate. So if you are interested in getting some business development tools and really honing in on how to grow your business, check us out and get certified with us.
Yes, I love that you mentioned it's not just about kind of the initial certification that you get, but the opportunities that open up because of that, and having some of that technical assistance from larger scale organizations, getting your business name in front of other people who are having conversations about
Yes.
contracting. These are all like huge beneficial things. So, just I love it. So many great pieces of information. And we have a lot of really good questions in the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our Q&A. Before we do that really quick, I did see some people ask how they can, stay in touch with Reginald, stay in touch with Shalana. So we did drop their information at the beginning. We're gonna go ahead and drop it again here in the chat. So that way you can check them out and stay in contact with them. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into our Q&A. So, Shalana, my first question is for you because I think there's still some folks who are considering certification. They want to learn a little bit more about the basics of it. So, where can you go get certified, and is there a cost?
Okay, so yes, there is a cost associated with certification. Currently in MSDC, we are in an interesting time. We are in the middle of a transformation. So currently certification is handled at our 23 regional office, but at the end of 2025, certification will be centralized and the national office will be handling the processing of certification. That way, our regional office can truly hone in on all the business development tools and truly growing our MBEs and no longer have to worry about certification. So, for our certification, the company has to be 51% managed, owned, and controlled by an ethnic minority who is a U.S. citizen. Now, if you'd like more additional information on our certification, you can visit our website at www.nmsdc.org and then just click on certification. So there is a certification and recertification fee associated with the certification. But like I mentioned earlier, we do have a certification reimbursement initiative. So if you are interested in applying for that program, you can, on our website under certification, you'll see the certification reimbursement initiative. You can click on that link and you can apply for the reimbursement program as well. That way, once you are approved for certification, because those on this call that are eager to apply are going to get approved, you'll then just contact us to process the reimbursement.
Okay, yes, that's great too, because as you mentioned, and just now and before that, there are more of those opportunities seeming to pop up. And even it sounded like earlier saying it's a little bit easier to qualify now. So
Yeah.
now is the time. Okay, Reginald, the next question is for you. Where did you find the request for an MBE vendor?
Where did I find the request for? So I'm actually an MBE for National Minority Service Supplier, right? For the corporate contracts. I'm also an MBE for the city of Atlanta. So if you go onto your whatever county that you're in, go onto their website and look for the EBO, Equal Business Opportunity Certifications at your city level. And it should be able to give you that information at the city level to be able to apply. Once you apply for the MBE with those documents are you're going to use those same documents for most of all your certifications for DBE, SBE, and whatever else that you decide to go after. So make sure you save those documents once you submit your first certification.
Thank you so much. Next question is for Shalana, and this is kind of about the structure of all these different certifications. So we've gotten multiple questions, but essentially they're kind of boiling down to, uh, is there a single source for all certifications, or are there several different entities where you would go to get certified? And does that vary by state?
Sorry, started talking on mute. Yeah, so there are seven different agencies that offer certification. So unfortunately, there isn't a one-stop shop to get, apply for all the different certifications. So it is going to vary based on the agency and or certification type. So like I said earlier, I broke them down by local certifications, then you have your federal and your state certifications. So you're going to have different agencies that are going to facilitate those certifications.
Okay, so it's kind of sounding like, again, like almost from the very first question when you were kind of breaking it down on the different types, thinking about what audience you're trying to serve and then seeing what certifications are they looking for. Then you can kind of work your way backwards. So, because there's a lot and it makes
Yeah, there he is.
Yes. It makes sense though when you talk about all of the resources that are housed just under NMSDC, like that all of these other certification agencies also probably provide additional resources or specialized care for them. So they have like a whole thing going on just like y'all. So you got to find which one works best. Okay, so I'm going to ask both of y'all this question, but I want to start with Reginald. We've gotten some questions about the capability statement. So from your perspective, Reginald, what are the main items that you believe should be on the capability statement?
Good question. On your capability statement, you should, of course, have your contact information. If you have a website, you want to have your differentiators, right? What makes you different from your competitors, right? You want to have your core competence. All right, that's more of the company information. You want to have your NAICS codes. If you don't know what NAICS codes are, those are the numbers that identify what services you're going to go after, right? So, for example, if I say, hey, we're going to go after 541611, that's a NAICS code for the federal government to identify your services. That falls on the project management, okay? You also want to have any past performances that you have done. Keep those past performances, and then any certifications. If you have any certifications, even if it's outside of the federal and local and state space, if you, let's just say you have cybersecurity certification, or you have your own, any type of those certifications will be able to help. You want to be able to brag on yourself as much as you can on a one-page document like a resume and just show how awesome your company is. And that's what you should, yeah.
Love it. So it's like contact information and how to brag or show all of the work you've done. Shalana, same question for you. What do you feel like are the main parts that need to be on your capability statement?
Yeah, Reginald hit that one out of the park. I was actually going to say the same thing. The only addition that I have is if you've received any awards. So if your business has been awarded anything, or maybe you've received an MBE of the Year award or something like that, you also want to put that on there to kind of brag on the accomplishments of the business as well.
Got it. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of questions about the length of the capability statement. Shalana, is there any kind of like standard? Is one page good, or is there like a loose standard for that?
One page is good. I definitely say you don't want to have a little pamphlet booklet, staple with some pages. You want to have one page ready, everything summarized, simplified, so that way, as the person is looking, they get the gist of what is needed right down to the details, and it's not a lot of reading to get through to the points that they're looking for. Because a lot of times, like in our setting, when we have our expos and things like that, and people are asking for capability statements, they're wanting that one pager that they can review real quick and talk to you about something that they see on it versus a document that they're having to really kind of fine comb, go through to really get to the bulk of what they need. So I would say a one pager would suffice.
Yes. Okay. Love that. That is just like something quick. People can gather all the information and make a decision. So also, I just have to highlight someone has already applied for the reimbursement program. They mentioned it in the chat. So talk about taking action. So congrats. And we dropped the NMSDC link in there. There's been a lot of links. I'm seeing some questions about trying to get a download of all the links. Typically, when you get the recording, there is an article included in it. This article might just be a little shorter. So we are going to try and get you as much information as possible. Please look at the YouTube description as well. So if you're unable to get some of those links, hopefully we can leave them for you there. Because I know it's hard. We have like so many tabs at the top. Okay, this next question is about, is there, Shalane, I want to ask this to you. Is there a benefit in having multiple certifications? Because some folks are saying, well, if I get this one, does it help if I also have X, Y, and Z? What are your thoughts on
Yes, there is a benefit. I would say apply for and obtain as many certifications that you are eligible for. That way, you throw your hat in many rings. Because if you have a company that's looking for a minority business, you're covered. If you have a company looking for a woman-owned business, you're covered. If you have a company looking for a disadvantaged business, you're covered. So I would just say apply for all those that, again, remembering who your clientele, who you're going after, and then just apply for those that you really feel would benefit you in the contracting that you're trying to do. Yeah, I would definitely say go for them all. If you are a minority woman who has a contract business that is a disadvantaged person, you are able to get the plethora of all the certifications. So I would definitely say get all that will benefit you. But like I said, understand your clientele, who are you trying to do business with, and what certifications that they're going for. That way, you won't be in a certification process trying to obtain a certification that you're never going to use. Because
that?
some of these certification processes can be strenuous. So you just want to ensure that you are spending your most time where you're going to get the best benefit.
Yes, makes total sense. And Amber has posted the NMSDC certification reimbursement link. Thank you so much, Amber. Reginald, I see you have your hand up. Did you want to add?
Yes, I wanted to add to that. If you guys listen, Brittany stated earlier, I hold over 10 certifications, right? I am DBE certified in 8 different states, and I'm probably going to be certified by the end of 2025 in about 15 total. Reason being for this, right? It's a marketing tool, okay? Every time a contract is going on in these 8 different states and they need my services, guess what? I get an email. Hey, we're looking for 541611, which is what I provide in this area. Can you bid on this opportunity? Because we need a DBE requirement. Some of these projects, they need a DBE requirement of 25%. I fit that scope. So I'm bidding in all over the different states. I'm bidding all over the US just because of my certifications. It's a marketing tool because those large institutions, they need us. They need small businesses with those certifications to be able to provide these services. So my advice, get certified in all the states that you feel that you can provide a service.
Yes, that is such a key point that holding those certifications is a marketing tool and it kind of pays double like a double dip. Like not only do you get the contracts and those emails, but also folks, again, it adds to your oh my goodness, your credibility, like you were saying, and whatnot. And you can put that on your capability statement if I'm understanding correctly. I haven't even got a business. I'm ready to be certified, okay? Because I'm gonna get my capability statement together. Okay, Reginald, this next question is for you. It said, where do you find who was awarded the contract before and what their pricing was? You mentioned that a little earlier. Is that the USA or usspending.gov site?
Yes, good question. So yes, you can use the usaspending.gov site to check out those previous winners, right? You can also, during a Q&A session with the contracts, for the federal, you want to ask the COR, hey, can you provide me the bid tabulation or the previous contract awarded solicitation number? Once you get that solicitation number, you can go into usaspend.gov and put it in there, and you can find the awarded contractor. If you can't find it on USA Spend, use that same number and put it in sam.gov, and you should be able to put inactive contracts. So again, you're going to use that same solicitation number, put it in sam.gov, select inactive contracts, and it will show the awarded contract from the previous years.
Got it. Thank you so much. Okay, this next question, Shalana, we're getting a couple of questions just in general about this. Is certification only for established businesses, or can startup or newer businesses apply for certifications?
Yes, so startups can also apply for certification as well. Your required documentation is just going to differ. So whereas if you were established for a few years, we would ask for a copy of your company's tax returns. If you were a startup, we would ask for a copy of your personal return and a balance sheet for the company because we understand you haven't necessarily taken on any income. So you don't have an income statement to give us, but you have a balance sheet that you could provide just to show that there is some type of cash flow or something going on for the company. So you do not have to be an established company that have had 15, 20 contracts and everything. You are able to obtain certification as a startup.
Got it. Okay, super helpful. And that's great, I feel like, for the startup businesses, because sometimes it can be harder, to get certain things like working capital or grants and whatnot. So this is really helpful. Um, okay, so next question. A couple people, it sounds like, have been approached by other folks saying that they can help them get certified. Now, I'm guessing these are just because they're asking, is this real or is this a scam? So, Shalana, do you have any kind of parameters or tips for identifying like someone who can help you with this, or like the best source to go to if you're like, I need help getting certified? Where's the best way to
So of course there are, different consultants out there who can assist. So I don't want you to necessarily assume that it's a scam because there are some consultants out there that can assist you with maybe getting your documentation and everything ready for the certification. But there are organizations like the MBDA who actually assist you with, getting your documentation and things together for the certification process. So I would say if you're leery of using someone because you are scared that they are a scammer, it's a potential scam, then actually utilize organizations that assist you. So that way you don't have to worry about if it's a scam or not, because it's an actual organization that's geared toward assisting people gain those or obtain those certifications.
That's helpful to you just have like a way to kind of navigate that because there's
Yeah.
always someone who can help you with things and just making sure you kind of have some parameters for that.
And then, of course, general certification questions and things that you have, you can contact us directly at certification@nmsdc.org.
Yes, and we did drop that in the chat under Shalena's contact info so that if you have a specific question or you're like, especially when it comes to the very specifics of your business, we still want to help and support you. And sometimes, a live Q&A might not be the best. You really need someone who can hear the ins and outs of your business, hear what you've done so far. So please take advantage of that. Because there's nothing like straight from the source, it really is quality information. So, Reginald, this question is for you. Not sure if you mentioned this, but it says, how did you get funding to perform the larger contracts?
Good question. So it was my first contract. So it was an experience, right? I did not get funding for my first contract. I kind of just went through it was a net 60 on the first payment because you have to provide service for 30 days and then you get repaid. So you provide a service for 30 days and then you submit your invoice and then they pay you within that net 30. So the first month is always tough, but I'm not saying that to scare anyone away. So I just shared to prepare you. The first payment is always going to be net 60, and then after that, it will be net 30 going after those terms. However, this is what you can do. There are factoring companies that help individual companies in the government contracting space. So if you go to a factoring company and say, "Hey, I've been awarded this contract. Can you provide me the first 30 days up front?" If they accept it, they will provide you the money within, let's say 7 to 10. Don't quote me, and then they will reach out to the federal agency or the state agency and request that money for the 30 days, or you just make an arrangement to pay them. So there are ways to get funding for your contract once you are awarded.
Got it. Okay, that is, yes, like you said, not to scare anyone, but just to prepare them because being prepared for that, you can really set yourself up for longer term success. Very helpful. And then Shalana, is there a best legal business structure for getting certified or no?
No, so there is no best business structure to get certified. Just depending on the business structure, the documentation is going to be different. So I would say the most simple business structure to get certified is going to be your sole proprietorships because there's not going to be, excuse me, those corporate documentations like bylaws and all that that's going to be attached to that company. So I would say that's going to be the easiest, but it's not the best. There's no business structure I would say that's better than the other in regards to certification. It's just going to the documentation is just going to differ depending on the complexity of the business structure.
Thank you so much. Okay, so wow, I feel like I did rapid fire for y'all, and we had so many questions in the chat that we wanted to get to all of them. We got to about, I think, 15 or 20 minutes of them, but you will get the recording of the conversation. So if your question did not get answered or you find the information was earlier on, you had to join later, check your inbox tomorrow. You will get this, you will get other relevant resources. And for the links, when you see the integrated video in the YouTube video, go to the description, okay? I'm gonna make sure we get all those links for you. so that you don't have to try. And I know we've had some link issues, so we'll put all the links there. I want to thank Shalana Williams. I want to thank Reginald Smith for spending their time today and sharing such valuable information. And also, I want to thank all of the business owners who are in the room today. It is not easy to find an hour to come and put forward time on your business, and you did this today. So we really hope that it was valuable, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you, everyone.